Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and as promised earlier today, we have our guest in the studio to tell us a lot more about the conference on harnessing religious and media discourse to promote, of course, women's rights. Delighted to be joined this afternoon in the studio by our dear guest, Dr. Amany, Houla, our physician and writer, and our guest for the afternoon. Dr. Amany, good afternoon to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, doctor, for your time this afternoon. Now, let's first start with the basics, religious and media discourse. What is meant by harnessing religious and media discourse to allow women's full protection and their rights?
Actually, there is a deviation along decades of the, in general, concept of the women's right in the society. Of course, because of the decision makers used to be the men, so they are starting to gain more rights against the women and start to put women in the back yard of all the decision making, all the important positions. So if we recognize the great civilization throughout the whole history, we will find there has never been a strong and great civilization without empowerment of the women.
Yeah.
So it is a key word of having a great development and achieving a lot of progress, because you are talking about half of the society which are reflecting their effects on the other half also.
You know, doctor, it's not just about political empowerment or social empowerment or even economic empowerment. It's a holistic approach when we discuss women empowerment. How important is it when we talk about women empowerment? It's not just in a political sense of the word or a social sense or an economic sense, but the three combined in one.
Of course, and we have to recognize that unfortunately breadwinner ladies are starting to be almost 40% of the society. So we are talking about a very strong economic power and very effective in the labor field that we have to facilitate their lives and give them better chances to, because they are strong leaders of the wheel of the civilization.
Indeed. Now, Dr. Amany, in your opinion, how can religious discourse be renewed? The whole message when it comes to religious discourse, how can it be renewed to better support women's rights as a whole?
First thing, we have to correct the misconception which try to use religion as an umbrella to achieve more goals against women, starting from the legacy of all the small details of life, from inheritance, from chances in the labor field, from even her right to express her needs or achieve what she wants, even the right to choose her partner in life. We used to have a big problem in several previous decades about that, which is very simple
basic,
and very basic. You have a long life with somebody you don't choose, which is big crime, I think.
Absolutely. Now, of course, misinformation or negative stereotypes about women color the way that people interact with women, and also through media coverage we've seen a lot of misrepresentation of women. What is the role of the media in this regard to correct the presentation of women or accurately present women?
Of course, because of the mass of the social media and all different misuse of such things, we have to put some rules, put some penalties against any wrong opinions, and of course we are depending on the religious science and the Azhar people and the people who are responsible to correct and to lead the community to what's right and what's wrong.
Absolutely. Dr. Amany, in your opinion, what are the biggest challenges facing women and women's rights, especially when it comes to the effective use of religious or even media discourse?
I think, and you will be surprised, the biggest challenge is to convince the women themselves that to fight for their rights and not to be negative, not to be accepting whatever they shouldn't accept, and they should know their, how to fight in a simple and positive way. We don't want clashes, but we want to be persistent and insist to have our rights, not to ignore, and starting from the family even. And you see the difference in treating the girls and the boys in the small family. This is the seed of the problem.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but from the beginning we are talking now, please, every woman should fight in a simple way to
just even start with her own family unit. So
yes.
just start with her own daughter, for example. Start teaching her son how to deal with her daughter and how they're
yes.
on equal footing. There's really a very big role to grassroots education in this field. How important is it to approach this at a grassroots level, even if it's just by targeting simple family structures, like you said?
Starting from the curriculum, even in the simple and basic educational programs, starting from the nice programs for kids and for the families, starting from the environment of work for women, and the, of course, social societies and all the gatherings for social work. They should make like a campaign and try to convince women you are doing a lot. Especially the Egyptian woman actually is sacrificing a lot and doing a lot of work like a man and like a woman in the same time.
Yes.
She should at least receive what she deserves from her rights.
Absolutely. Right, Dr. Amany, let's move to the role. We spoke about the role of the family and the woman in the family as a family unit. Let's move along and look at the role of communities, larger communities, the role of non-governmental organizations, for example, that target empowerment of women and fighting for women's rights. Tell me a bit about their importance and what role can they play in this regard. Let's start with NGOs first.
Of course, first thing, the basic need of anybody is to have independency economically. When women become more independent,
yes.
then she can choose in a better concept. I am not getting to marry because I need somebody to take care of me. La, I'm getting to choose the good person for me.
A partnership.
From different aspects, not only from the material aspects. Also, the women, they should receive more education about how to deal with their families, how to support her husband without being giving him the negative way to be dependent on her. We have this big problem, especially in more poor levels. The man starts to feel this is his right. He's not working, or having.
She's the breadwinner, and he's fine with that.
Yes, and this is one of the biggest, actually, problems we are starting to face from several decades.
So that's the role of NGOs in order to educate their communities. Let's talk about the role of the government. Surely the government has a role. We've got the National Council for Women and Childhood Council as well, National Childhood Motherhood and Childhood Council. Lots of different governmental sectors can also play a role in this regard. Tell me a bit about that.
We now start to have some justice in dealing with the governmental sector, starting from the decision-making positions. Now we have ministries, we have judges, we have a lot of restricted areas invaded finally. And also this is a great step for women. Also the equality in dealing with them through the environment of the work. I hope it can be more better because we have different we can say specifications, like the needs for women to have a chance for taking care of her kids.
Yes.
But they should give her better environment to be equal and to have better chances in life.
Indeed. Now, Dr. Amany, you mentioned a very important issue, which is, the role of the government. Now there's more women in positions of leadership and power, etc. But there's also a role for law. There's laws and legislations that protect women, that protect the rights of women, that specify certain age, for example, for marriage, for labor. You can't work under a specific age, etc. The laws and legislations that have been enacted and passed by the Egyptian state in order to protect women, what role do they play in this regard to protect women's rights?
Of course, we have a lot of positive side in laws, but our problem actually is not to implement the law in a good way. Sometimes we play around or find solutions to hide from practicing the right actions against whoever try to break the law against the women. But I hope the woman actually is the first one who should fight for her own rights and never accept being neglected or being put in a negative position. And also I hope the achievement of practicing the real law implementation is much better, because small employees sometimes destroy the whole concept of justice. And if I have already an hukm, I have already a ruling, but I cannot implement it. But it's a big problem. I hope we can, by digitalization, one of the great steps to achieve justice and prevent corruption is one of them is digitalization also.
And you feel that this will help implement laws in a more successful manner?
Of course.
And follow up as well. It's really a matter of following up. If the law is implemented and if anyone breaks the law and receives the rightful punishment, surely this will stop further.
Of course, and he will be a model to be avoided.
Set a good example, yes, to follow the law. Now, of course, this conference also aligns with international conventions on women's rights organized by the National Council of Women and Al-Azhar. How important do you see this collaboration?
It's very important because it's not only a local environment to talk about, it's an international. Because justice is just and feeling loyal to our laws is something very important, and having a lot of people understanding the same language, although they are from different environments, is very important. But this is a very strong step, and I hope it will break the barriers between the different cultures to understand justice is the same everywhere.
Absolutely. Now, Doctor, what impact do you expect from such a conference with the collaboration between the National Council for Women? And they've used a very smart way to collaborate with Al-Azhar in really a way that is easy to reach both men and women and citizens of Egypt.
Of course. It's one step, one good step, but we have to be not too much optimistic if we don't work hard after. Steps must be followed by implementation and by more steps and more efforts to achieve changes, because we are talking about nations are changing very slowly, and as they say, old habits die hard.
Yes.
But
you have to start somewhere as well.
Yes.
As they say, you have to start somewhere. Yes. Do you see, in the near future, changes, when it comes to religious and discourse and how women are portrayed even in the media? Do you see a change for a positive portrayal? Do you see a change for more development in this specific sector in society?
Of course, we have to be more positive about that, and the feedback and the reaction of people also affects a lot. And we can call the collective mind of people is slowly affected gradually.
Absolutely right. I'm going to have to leave it at that. I'm afraid we've run out of time, but I'd like to thank you very, very much, Dr. Amany Houla, physician and writer and guest for the afternoon. Thank you so much for coming in and for joining us on today's episode of Cairo Local Time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We do hope you have enjoyed it. You're in the company of myself and Jumeher. Many thanks for watching.